You wake up already tired. Before your feet even hit the floor, before the day has made a single demand of you, the negotiation has already begun. That quiet voice inside your head starts whispering, softly at first, almost reasonably, telling you that today can be a little easier, that you've already done enough, that the hard part can wait until tomorrow, that you deserve the comfort of one more hour, one more excuse, one more compromise with the version of yourself you keep promising to outgrow. And here's what makes that voice so dangerous. It doesn't sound like weakness. It sounds like wisdom. It sounds like self-care. It sounds logical, patient, and completely justified. But make no mistake about what it actually is. That voice is the guardian of your limitations. It is the reason people spend entire decades standing at the edge of the life they want, never quite stepping into it. So let me ask you something that is going to sit uncomfortably in your chest if you are honest enough to let it land. What if everything you want is hiding directly behind the things you hate doing? What if the discomfort you spend your energy avoiding is not a wall at all, but a doorway? A doorway to the version of yourself you keep imagining but never seem to reach. Because here is the truth, and it is as simple as it is brutal. Most people never become who they could be. Not because they lack intelligence, not because they lack opportunity, but because they spend their entire lives running from discomfort, chasing motivation like it is something that will eventually arrive and save them, waiting for the perfect mood, the perfect moment, the perfect energy level before they are willing to do what needs to be done. But discipline is not built in comfort. It never has been, and it never will be. Discipline is built in resistance, in those specific, unglamorous moments when your mind is screaming no, when your body wants to quit, when every reasonable argument points towards stopping, and you choose to move anyway. That is not just effort, that is transformation in real time. And this is precisely what David Goggins has been trying to show the world, not through motivational speeches, but through the relentless public documentation of his own suffering. You do not grow by doing what you like. You grow by facing what you avoid, by walking directly into the things that make you most uncomfortable, and refusing to leave until you have taken something from the experience. Here is something that most people don't understand about doing the things they hate. It is not just about building toughness. It is about reclaiming authority over your own mind. Every time you avoid something hard, you are casting a vote. You are telling your nervous system that the discomfort was a legitimate threat, something to be escaped, something that you were not equipped to handle. And your brain, which is always paying attention, records that information and files it away. The next time that challenge appears, the resistance will be slightly stronger, the excuse will come slightly faster, and the retreat will happen slightly sooner. That is how people end up completely paralyzed by things that should feel manageable, not because the challenge grew, but because the avoidance pattern did. But the reverse is equally true and far more powerful. Every time you do something you hate, every time you wake up early when your body craves sleep, push through a workout when you feel completely empty, sit down to do the hard work when distraction is one tap away, you cast a different vote. You tell your nervous system that discomfort is survivable, that you are in command, not your feelings, not your mood, not the inner voice negotiating for an easier path. And over time, those accumulated votes reshape your entire identity. You stop being someone who needs to feel motivated before taking action. You become someone who acts first and lets the discipline produce its own momentum. That is a level of personal power that most people will never experience because they are too busy chasing easy. Now let's talk about the wall, because at some point, every person who commits to this process will hit it. You think you know your limits. You have a picture in your mind of where your endurance ends, where your willpower runs dry, where the point of genuine impossibility begins. But here is the uncomfortable reality that Goggins exposes again and again. That wall is not a physical boundary. It is a mental construction. It is a story your brain invented to protect you from discomfort and is presented with such convincing authority that most people never question it. They hit the point where effort becomes genuinely painful, where the task becomes genuinely difficult, and they interpret that resistance as a signal that they have reached their limit. They have not. They have reached the beginning of their actual capability. Research on human endurance suggests that when people feel they have reached complete exhaustion, they have typically only accessed a fraction of their actual physical and mental capacity. The rest is locked behind the belief that the wall is real. This means that for most people, the version of themselves they are capable of becoming is not separated from them by years of work or rare talent. It is separated from them by the willingness to push past a feeling. That is both terrifying and extraordinary. Terrifying because it means you have been choosing a small, Let a version of your life voluntarily. Extraordinary, because it means the larger version is closer than you think. It is right on the other side of the resistance you keep turning away from. But there is something deeper happening when you stare at the things you hate and keep moving forward anyway. It is not just that you are getting stronger physically or more productive professionally. You are confronting yourself at a level that most people actively spend their lives avoiding. Because when you stare at a task you despise, a difficult conversation, a grueling training session, the disciplined routine that feels like it is slowly grinding you down, you see yourself reflected back with complete honesty. No filter, no comfort, just the raw truth of who you are in this moment and the clear outline of who you could become if you stop running. And that confrontation can feel like a punch to the chest because it forces you to ask whether the life you are living is a reflection of your real potential or a reflection of your comfort zone. And most people, if they are honest, already know the answer. Here is the part that nobody tells you about this process. The things you hate doing most are not your enemies. They are your most honest allies. The workout you dread is teaching your body to operate under fatigue. The difficult conversation you keep postponing is teaching you to stay grounded under emotional pressure. The early morning routine you resist is teaching your mind that your commitments are stronger than your moods. Every single thing you hate, every task that makes you want to negotiate or delay or escape is pointing directly at a gap, a place where growth is waiting, where your next level of strength is being withheld from you by nothing more than your unwillingness to be uncomfortable for a defined period of time. This is the paradox that high performers understand and average people miss completely. The very things you despise most, the routines you resist hardest, the discomfort you work hardest to avoid. These are the precise tools that will make you unstoppable if you commit to them fully and consistently. There is no shortcut around this truth, no productivity hack that replaces it, no motivational content that substitutes for it. You have to face it, endure it, and eventually, when you have faced it enough times, embrace it. Because here's what happens when you do. Something shifts. Quietly at first, almost imperceptibly, the task that once felt like punishment starts to feel like territory you own. The discomfort that once triggered retreat starts to feel familiar, manageable, then expected, then almost necessary. And you begin to move through your days with a quiet confidence that has nothing to do with external validation and everything to do with the private knowledge that you showed up for yourself when it was hard, that you did the thing nobody asked you to do, in the moment nobody was watching, for the person you are still in the process of becoming. And now we arrive at the moment that separates the people who talk about change from the people who actually live it. Because right now, in this moment, you have access to the same choice that every person who has ever built something genuinely impressive has faced. The choice between comfort and growth, between the voice that says not today and the discipline that says especially today. The life you want, the strength, the confidence, the sense of command over your own existence is not waiting for a better set of circumstances. It's not waiting for you to feel ready, feel motivated, or feel inspired. It is waiting on the other side of the exact tasks you are current, lie avoiding. It is waiting behind the resistance you have been treating as a reason to stop instead of recognizing it as a signal to push harder. Every second you spend hiding in comfort is a second stolen from the person you are capable of being. And the clock does not pause out of sympathy. The day moves forward regardless of what you do with it. The only question that matters is whether the version of you that shows up in the hard moments is built for what you are asking of it, or still waiting to be built. Start building it today, not when you feel ready, not after one more round of preparation. Today, and the exact discomfort you are sitting with right now is where the work begins. One decision, one action, one moment where you choose the hard thing over the easy thing, and you prove to yourself that you are not ruled by weakness. Do what you hate, build what you want, become who you were always capable of being. The doorway has been standing open the entire time. You just have to be willing to walk through it. If this content is pushing you forward, subscribe, hit like, and turn on notifications. Because what comes next is something you cannot afford to miss.